Highlighting barrier-breaking women in an empowering new art project just wrapping up downtown near Legacy Arena.
As WVTM 13's Carla Wade explains, it showcases not only the talents of some local artists, but the strength and dignity of Alabama women.
Near Legacy Arena and across from the BJCC, covering up an old beige wall, is a brand new mural. It includes colorful portraits of 4 barrier-breaking Alabama women. I got a chance to talk with the lead artist, Megan McCollum, as that mural was taking shape. Women who have shaped and shifted Alabama culture. These are the real Steel Magnolias.
She's strong and she's graceful, but she's not timid. And every single one of these women embodies that in a certain way.
Megan McCollum is the founder of Blank Space Birmingham. It's been a concept of hers for the last 7 years, bringing unique works of art to urban spaces. It became a business within the last 2 years. This project is the result of a collaboration with Main Street Inc. and the owners of the DCI building, which created a volunteer-based mural committee. The city approved the design back in April.
What I really focus on is using public art mostly to transform spaces to help neighborhoods, businesses, people tell their story, and to really intersect into places to kind of make people think differently about their environment that they're in.
While she's clearly pretty handy with a paintbrush, McCollum is not a trained artist. She studied geography, focusing on urban studies and earning a master's degree in cities and culture.
And I was fortunate to study in the UK as a Rotary Global Scholar to do cities and cultures at Queen Mary University of London. And while I was there, I was involved in a lot of community activism and grassroots organization and saw how they were using public art to help tell those stories.
Working alongside talented and skilled artists DeJuan Moten and Mary Grace Tracy, they vividly brought to life 4 iconic Alabama women. Harper Lee, author of To Kill a Mockingbird. Coretta Scott King, the wife of a civil rights icon who forged her own path as a champion of equality. Rosa Parks, who set the Montgomery bus boycott in motion. And Helen Keller, who overcame adversity after losing both her hearing and sight as a small child.
It's not just about educating people about who these women were individually, but also, just like the greatness that comes out of Alabama. I think we get a lot of bad attention and bad media sometimes, and it's not so bad. We've got some awesome women.
There's important symbolism too. The bold colors and geometric shapes are a nod to the Gee's Bend quilters, African-American women whose quilting tradition dates back to their ancestors' enslavement on an Alabama plantation. The state flower, the camellia, and of course magnolias are also prominent parts of the mural.
To really speak to the beauty, but also this idea of blossoming and becoming.
But there's a 5th and equally important woman here too.
And so she's not famous like the other women on our mural, but really wanted to create something where someone could see themselves in it and say, from the seeds of these women, you too can blossom into something beautiful and impactful in your community.
The mural itself will likely have an impact as well.
But I think it comes in layers, and I think the power of a project like this not only is in the final image, but in its creation of watching, a small team take this on of local artists, and there was an opportunity for international artists to be a part of this project. And I really hope people take away that you can do anything you set your mind to. A, B, this is a community worthy of world-class art.
And a community willing to make space for great art, exceptional artists, and remarkable women. Carla Wade, WVTM 13.
Wow, those are really nice.